What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here at Chris's MMA Universe. So it looks like Brian Ortega is out of the fight for the UFC on ESPN Plus 23 main event. Looks like he ended up tearing his ACL, and looks like supposedly it was like a partial tear. So he was saying something about he's already rehabbing it, and it's only a partial tear. And his doctor was saying if he would have fought, he could have, completely ruptured it. So it looks like he's out. It's too bad. I think that was going to be a very exciting fight. I did make a prediction video on that, so if you didn't check it out, go back and check it out now. So it looks like the Korean Zombie is actually going to end up fighting Frankie Edgar. I mean, the UFC was kind of scrambling around trying to find an opponent for the Korean Zombie to keep him in the event, because this is actually happening in Korea, in South Korea. I believe it was going to happen in his hometown, the Korean Zombie's hometown. So it looks like the Korean Zombie is going to be going up against Frankie Edgar, and I mean that's what it looks like is going on now. I'm pretty sure it's official. With a few weeks coming up, or a few weeks to actually prepare, I'm sure Frankie Edgar stays in shape, so I'm sure this actually wouldn't be a problem for Frankie Edgar. It's just my only thought on that is Frankie Edgar was actually going to move down to bantamweight. So, I mean, yeah, of course it's easy to just go right into a featherweight fight because, there's really not that much weight to cut. Frankie Edgar, I believe walks around about 155, maybe slightly more than that, but who knows? I know Frankie Edgar is definitely up for any challenge at all. He'll fight anybody, which, is one of the great things we love about Frankie Edgar. But, the only concern was he was supposed to fight Sandhagen. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen there. I'm sure he can, depending on what happens here, they're going to have to find another opponent for Sandhagen because, what's going to happen if Frankie Edgar ends up being injured in this fight? He ends up going through let's say a 5-round war or whatever the case happens here. Who really knows what's going to happen in this fight, right? Korean Zombie is especially a game opponent for the featherweight division. So, where Frankie Edgar was actually training, to go into a bantamweight fight against Sandhagen. So now he's going to go against the Korean Zombie and in featherweight. Does that blow off the Sandhagen fight? I was super pumped for that fight. So does that blow that fight off? Now he's going to fight the Korean Zombie. What happens there? If Frankie Edgar ends up beating the Korean Zombie, is he now in title contention again? Who knows what's going on here? It seems like there's a lot of moving parts. And, I'm curious to see what happens, leading up to this fight. And, if anything gets updated, I don't know if Frankie Edgar is actually going to officially be the opponent for the Korean Zombie, but that's what it's looking like. So I guess we'll see what happens. That's also an exciting fight, but, it's really too bad because I was really, really excited to see Brian Ortega actually, get back in there and try to redeem himself and, from the loss that he took against Max Holloway. Korean Zombie right now is he's looking phenomenal. So Korean Zombie versus Frankie Edgar. I guess there is enough time for the Korean Zombie to adjust his approach going into this fight. Adjust his training a little bit because Frankie Edgar is definitely a different opponent. Very, very fast on the feet, incredible footwork, incredible boxing, great wrestling. Well-rounded all the way around. But so is the Korean Zombie. So the Korean Zombie going into his hometown wanting to fight. Now, this is without me checking, but I'm assuming that I believe that the Korean Zombie is fighting in his hometown. I know it's in Korea, in South Korea. So, we'll see what happens. Like I said, the Korean Zombie is definitely game. Frankie Edgar, we all know, is incredibly game for this fight. So, it being a 5-round fight, I believe that's what they're keeping it as. It is a main event. I don't know if they're going to end up going down to a 3-round fight. I doubt it, though, because it is a main event in South Korea, which is a very important fight for the Korean Zombie. So I don't see why they would change it, to a 3-round. I don't believe that's what will happen. I believe it's still going to remain a 5-round fight, 5-round main event. But I'm really, really excited to see this fight. I mean, I was really excited, really pumped because, I was so ready to see Brian Ortega get in there. The only thing now is that with Brian Ortega not fighting in this fight, that means Brian Ortega is actually going to be absent from the fighting game for the entire year of 2019, because they're saying that he's going to need to be out for about 2 to 3 months to actually, rehab the knee and make sure the knee's fine and, kind of stay off of it. And, a lot of rehab is going to have to take effect on this. Like he said, it's a small tear, so he's already rehabbing it. But 2 to 3 months, he's going to have to be out, which means, no training. I mean, light training, if any training at all. Most likely he's not going to be able to train at all because then you just end up making it worse. So, looks like Brian Ortega's out. I don't know if they're going to end up, who knows when Brian Ortega is going to actually come back in. Obviously, he's not going to fight the Korean Zombie now. I don't even think that's going to happen in the future unless they cross paths again in the future. But I don't really think that's going to happen. It was kind of like now or never kind of thing. And it was kind of big because TKZ was actually going to fight in South Korea. So I know they're really, really trying to keep him on this card with him being the main event in South Korea, So I guess it's going to be Frankie Edgar versus the Korean Zombie. I'm still excited to see that one. I'm sure you guys are as well. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like. I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation in the comments. And if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see all you guys in the next one.